Same location, the card. Yeah. Shut completely down and restarted.
Are you back up, you say?
Yep.
Something's wrong then with us because I had to do the same again.
Yeah. Well, it needed to do an update.
That's what mine was too.
Yeah, that must have been it, the way of forcing you to do the update. Won't let you do anything to the update.
I didn't have that.
Well,
Mine's too old.
yeah.
Give away those cars. Just to kind of start things off a little bit, yesterday while Josh reached out to me a little bit, making sure, verifying that we had issued or made a decision on an appointment for Joe Tudor, who came off the board with HHWP. And I said we had, and I talked a little bit with Amber, who is that person that we have appointed. And long story short, I said, watch cool for a little bit, introduce yourself, Amber, and that way everybody's on the same page. And consequently, she's gonna stick around a little bit to understand HHWP a little bit better with our meeting this morning. So Amber is joining us also.
That's awesome, thank you.
And Amber will be a very good addition to the board. Go ahead, Josh.
Where to start? My disclaimer is if you plan to learn all about community action in the time we have today, I'm probably gonna disappoint you because I'm still learning about community action, and I'm on year 11 of my tenure in this role. So, real briefly, community action organizations, which I'm sure most of you are aware of, so I apologize if this is information that's repetitive or duplicate. We've been around since the mid-60s. We're private, non-profit corporations, and our mission is to reduce poverty and improve lives. We don't have any specification in terms of what we can do to reduce poverty and improve lives. So what we do is, as part of our mission, is assess the needs of the community. And if there's a need in the community that's not being met and we have the capacity to provide it, we do so. We really specialize in federal grants. We're created a little bit different than the typical nonprofit in that sense. Most, again, this is a very general statement, but most nonprofits rely on donations and contributions and fundraising drives. We do almost none of that. We're almost exclusively funded by federal grants, and running federal grants is getting more and more difficult every day with the additional requirements that are being put on us, as probably everyone in this room understands. So that's as brief as it gets in terms of describing community action, but I think the important takeaway is that we want all the stakeholders in the community, whether it be private sector business, locally elected officials, low-income residents themselves, to know that they can come in our doors, and if we can't find a solution to your challenge, at least we will refer you and work with our partners to serve you in the best way we can. Last thing I'll say is that we also take very seriously how are we helping people move from poverty to self-sufficiency. So while there are a lot of programs we run that do provide relief, we're always looking at ways to how do we make it so these folks that need this service can get on a path to where they do not need this service. So that's extremely important to us, and that's the extreme cliffs notes of the beginning of what we did. Something that we talk about, and we have been talking about for the last several times we've gotten together, is our public transportation system. Of course, in Hardin County, it began officially as of July 1st. Of course, we've been working on it for well over a year, almost 2 years, and trying to develop it. And this community really came together and provided the support we needed at the local level to get it started. And now you have the rolling billboards. So I was telling Amber as we were walking in, we always think we're doing a great job, but really what matters is what the public thinks. And so I'm curious as to if you all have any feedback for us about how we're doing, or anything you'd like to see different, or any general feedback.
I see a lot of vehicles driving around town and in the county.
Yeah.
Different areas. So
That's
that's
what
good.
me. I see vehicles all up and down the road, going on between here and 80 and 309. I see them many times on 309. Go to Lima, see to maybe a doctor's office or in that area, you see them there also too. And so I see where they've had quite an impact here in a short time span that they've been in place here in Hardin County. So to me, I think it's been very good.
Yeah, I agree, but we haven't gotten any really direct feedback, we definitely haven't gotten any negative feedback. But, you know, we see them out and about, that's a sign they're being used.
I've heard people say it's been very easy and the drivers have been super nice. Those are
Fantastic.
my just,
Yeah, I think Jamie did a wonderful job of coordinating everything and putting everything together.
Jamie's an all-star, and
Yeah,
he makes me look good.
he really,
Yeah.
he's good.
So on that note, because of course we have transportation services in 3 of our 4 major counties, I missed that piece too. Let me take a quick step back. So when you look at our agency name, it's HHWP, Community Action Commission, and we were incorporated as HHWP back in 1965, and all it is the first letter of each county, of our main counties that we represent: Hancock, Hardin, Wyandotte, and Putnam. So not a creative name, but it does well, and at this point I have no interest in rebranding. But to my point on Jamie, and he's been spread very thin. There's a lot of activity, not just in Hardin County and Wyandotte, and in Hancock County in particular. There's been a lot of movement to redesign the system, and so we were able to hire, and many of you, because he's a local elected official for many years, may be familiar with his name, Scott Washburn. We hired him to assist Jamie and specialize and attend to our more rural. I say more rural because Hancock is rural, but Hancock is kind of getting into that larger, potentially a fixed route system. So Scott's going to help Jamie manage Hardin and Wyandotte County. So you might, I don't know if you know Scott, he was the mayor of Upper Sandusky for many years, and then worked at the city of Cary, small village of Cary, I should say, for some time. And we were very, very fortunate that he became available and applied, and we hired him. So that should allow us, and allow Jamie in particular, to delegate some of the attention to the specific local area, and hopefully strengthen even further the operations in Hardin and Wyandotte counties. And by the way, just because I think this is important, that didn't add expense. We consolidated some positions elsewhere to free up those funds, so we're not just adding a management position, it's cost neutral. So that's transportation. I guess I'll add, there's a lot of other things happening right now. I can keep going if you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're in the middle of heat winter crisis season that began November 1st. And of course, we had pretty nice weather in November, and then just this, of course, now we're in the 50s again, but we got a little cold spell these last couple weeks, and so we've seen the need for bulk fuel in particular. People come in and who are qualified receive that benefit. See, the other major program we're running is Head Start. Head Start for our agencies expanding. We were awarded through a partnership with another community action agency a grant that allows us to expand into birth to age 3, also known as early Head Start. That's a small, I don't want to call it a pilot because it's not really a pilot, it's an ongoing grant, but it's our first opportunity to kind of dip our toes into that programming, and we hope that through that experience that we gain, we can apply in the future when funding comes available to expand that birth to age 3 grouping in all of our counties. So that's much more longer term plan, but it's one of those things that it's the hardest thing to do, we find, is to break through. Sometimes it's like finding a job, if you need experience but you don't have experience, how do you get the experience? And this is our shot to get that experience, and again, hopefully provide some value added service to the age group of birth to age 3. So those are the major things. We also run the WIC program in 3 of our 4 counties, including Hardin. We're in the old gas station here on Sandusky. Those services have been running smooth, wrapped up. This is now a couple months ago. We wrapped up a very strong farmers market, fresh food drive for the people that receive that service, and that was very successful this year. And then the only other thing I'm thinking, and this is another major program that isn't as, I guess, out there, if you will, in the public, but we're doing a lot of work, is our home weatherization assistance program. Those of you on the board know about it, but through that program, eligible families can qualify to have upgrades to their home that increase the energy efficiency of the home, including renewed insulation, appliances that are more efficient, with the overarching goal to permanently reduce their energy consumption and lower their costs. That program is interesting in the sense that in order to even qualify, we have to do a test that shows that there's a return on investment. So the weatherization program has to provide a return on investment in order, calculate return on investment, I should say, in order to be able to serve people. So it's a program that is federally funded, and our argument is that for every dollar invested in federal funds, you're gonna get at least $1, if not more than return in terms of energy savings. And safe homes. I always forget about that piece. When we go and improve somebody's home's energy efficiency, there's a lot of health and safety work that goes into that as well, so. That's the again, the Cliff's Notes version, excuse me. We could talk for hours if you'd like, but I assume you all have other things to do, so I'm open to any questions you have of me, or anything you'd like to see differently in these meetings.
Sounds like you're doing good, and I know that the CATS program or the CATS transportation here is, I think, helped a lot of people get to work, which was, so it's used more than just to the doctor's office or to the pharmacy or whatever. It enables people to work that are, especially that are handicapped. So it's filled a service that maybe senior citizens or some of the others didn't. So that's been a big plus. So I personally know about that with my daughter using the service, so.
And I agree, I think that program has helped fill the gap that we had probably here in the county regarding transportation. And I think it's doing a very good job in terms of that too.
Well, I know it's cliche, but we view all feedback as a gift. We appreciate the positive feedback, and we also want to hear when we need to improve. So I welcome, obviously, any of our elected officials or stakeholders or general public to let us know how we're doing. And we take that feedback very seriously and continue to try to do better.
Have you, are the grants holding firm for your transportation in the federal for next year?
Well, we are in the process of applying for our 2024-25 grant, which is a July through June grant. So that grant application is due at the end of this month. And we're going to be asking for a similar budget to what we had this year with some cost of living increase. They'll let us know, typically, probably, hopefully at least a month before. Sometimes they let us know in mid-May or typically May at the earliest we know for our July start date, what we're gonna be awarded. And of course, we hope that we can remain whole, and if not, that we're pretty good at pivoting and doing what needs to be done to make whatever budget we get work. This year, for reasons we all know, will be, particularly the first 6 months of this year, to see what the incoming federal administration is going to do will be very interesting. So, so we kind of stand ready to react in whatever way we need to continue our mission. And that's the best I think anybody can do at this point.
Yeah. Wait and see for a month or so.
Yep. That's all right.
Hey. Amber, anybody?
I don't have any additional questions, but I look forward to being part of this board and helping with the mission. I appreciate you allowing me to sit in and kind of get a sneak peek of some of the initiatives that are being served.
There's so much crossover between what we do and what county departments of Job and Family Services do, and I appreciate the strong relationship, because to me, it's, the more we can collaborate for the common mission, the better we're going to be able to do. So I appreciate you, Amber. Thank you, and congratulations on your a new promotion.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Good to see you. Yeah, the courthouse is beautiful, by the way. I walked in and saw the.
John, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas. Good to see you. Thanks.
Yep, take care.
Have a great holiday.
Nice seeing you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You too, see you next week, yeah.
Hi Cheryl, Roger Crowe calling. How are you this morning? Good, thanks. Hey, we are a little late in putting in the order, but we need, those sets of, calendars that you've done for us in past years, the big letter ones. Good for her. She's on top of things. Yep, very good. Well, did we get 2 last year? Cause I was thinking Mike Bailey got a set for his office. If you can just check if we got 2 last year, get 2 again this year. All right, thanks. Bye. The wall calendars. The wall calendar there?
Yeah.
Who's your contact that you know regarding Thursdays?
Super broker.
Is it super?
Yeah, yeah. So everything should be ready for us.
Now, what is it that you know? Is it a
Morning.
Morning.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. Well, you wanna know? What you know, Richard?
Going to Christmas.
Hi, Richard.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Richard.
How are we this fine day?
Peachy.
Peachy Keen.
Well, he's going uh-oh.
I think I lost a message that I sent to Sue.
Yeah, if you have that, just forward it to me then.
Yep. Yep.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
I'm really good, I think.
Oh, okay, well, thanks for coming in.
You're looking good.
Well, thanks.
So
They were talking about losing, looks like I was losing weight, and I thought, only my dreams, I know good.
Well, I hear half the roof's done.
Half of it's done. I still don't think they have their anchors up there yet, so we need to switch to the new ones yet. So, and they work, what they have done now is worked so far, like everything, where most everything is conglomerated there, which would be in that southeast corner. Where a lot of the units, AC units are at, I think they worked there, what they told me. I haven't had a bird see. But you know, with the way they talked last week, you know, at our meeting, you know, they weren't gonna be here.
Next
They
week.
were gonna be here all this week.
Yeah, they weren't gonna be here all this week, and,
No, not this week.
and the last part of 2 days of last week, I did go ahead and have the cones moved off the side or off the street.
Yeah,
There's no sense in having spaces blocked up, they ain't gonna be here for a week and a half,
Right,
so,
right.
to do that. And they were, been doing pretty good, at least the guy calls me every morning and says they're here. So that's about all he says sometimes, but yeah, we're here, so it might be good.
yeah.
So, I, you know, I don't know how, I don't think it can be done by first year, I don't think, I can't see that happening, but I don't know.
No, I don't know.
With the time that they're not gonna be here in December, I would think it'd be difficult. They're not gonna be here that much in December.
Right.
No, I just got the 1 week.
So, that's what I know on that.
Downstairs is starting to come together.
Starting. I think it's a little. I don't think sterile.
Yeah, well, you get a bulletin board up here and there,
Oh.
on that.
And hopefully the floor help out a little bit on that.
Yeah, that'll make a big difference.
And that is not Kramer floor covering, good floor. That's our people that work for free. Need something to do. So we.
Oh,
Our
Scraping the
court-appointed
old floor.
assistants.
Yeah, court appointed assistants, yes, that's a good way to put it.
tearing up the old floor, I was thought, why are they gonna lay the new floor?
No, they're not, they're
Yeah.
trying to do a floor, so, kinda make it a little bit easier that way.
Yep.
So, and it gives them something to do,
Yeah.
keeps them busy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's looking on that, we're still working, it's still gonna be a couple days before we get things, all put back. I'm not sure how much we wanna put back, or what, I don't, started with the basic stuff, light switches, this and that, whatever. The door openers, Guardian was in yesterday and remounted everything as far as the couple pull stations, horn and strobes and the panel. So that's all hooked back up and stuff, so. Well, it was never unhooked before, but, so yeah, we're slowly but surely.
What are you gonna do around the door into housekeeping area?
I'm gonna trim out some of yet, I just haven't got there yet.
Okay.
It's kinda
I
odd.
noticed they have a very narrow transom.
Yeah, it's very odd because there's that space there, which is different than this space on this side, which is different than this space on this side, so.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, so, but, I guess I did have maybe a couple questions about stuff to put back on there. And this is just my ideas, my thinking, and down the wall, down by my office, the wall that you see as you're walking in the door. Would it be something if we could find somebody that does a little hand painting or whatever, and it says, maybe paint on that wall that says, welcome to the Hardin County Courthouse or something? Would that be an idea?
Kind of nice, walking in there.
I mean, I have to put the two signs back up there as part of the directory and,
Are you talking the same wall, help me out, are you talking the same wall where the Ag Hall of Fame pictures are at?
no.
I was thinking as you walk in, why you would see that.
As you walk in, straight in, you see this wall, the Ag Hall is around the corner.
The Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
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 Which, by the way, is probably not going back there.
Okay.
So,
Are you thinking of something like at the sheriff's office, and you go in there, big room, there's sheriff's emblems up there, and just,
no, not something that takes the whole wall.
Okay.
Because like I said, I need to put the directory probably back on there. And I need to probably put that sign on there about handguns and firearms.
right, any of our legal notices.
Just something across the top or around the corner or something like that that says that.
And well, once you get the stuff up that has to be there, we'll see what room there is and what can be done.
Which kind of brings to another idea I had is, how, I do like the history of the courthouse, and I don't know if you know, I do have a folder of all this stuff downstairs, and I have a lot of pictures or postcards of my own that depict the old courthouse or this courthouse or what have you, or whatever. And along with, the copy of the page of the paper, which was hanging down there, from 1915, which was, I don't know, I was thinking about maybe making part of the wall down there, maybe on the other side where the water mountain is, like maybe a history wall, put a bunch of those pictures all there together.
That's a good idea.
History, frame them nice, make them pretty much good, frame them nice, and just kind of put what we can in there. Old pictures or old postcards or whatever, so, that's not a bad idea.
No?
Okay. 3 bulletin boards back up on the far side, on the one side, there's 3 on the west side of the hallway before. One was health, one was just sitting out here right now,
Yeah.
and then there's 2 other ones.
Was one had map, zoning map, or?
Yeah,
Or
one has a
rotating
map on
map.
whatever you put up, whatever
School district map,
puts up there, he changes it every once in a while.
Yeah.
county outline's gonna change here, so maybe. thoughts of needing like a advertising board, hours, information? Thinking like an LED, like you see like a light board, where you can program them and put messages up there as you walk in the door. Anybody?
Those are nice. My experience with those in other organizations is you gotta have somebody that's dedicated to updating it, and then it doesn't get updated, and then it's got stale information, and
Yeah.
that's worse than not having any information.
Well, I already kind of planned on maybe, because there's always was a clock hanging there on that wall coming in the door. Another clock, but maybe a digital, but something that's easy to read, and maybe put the date, or the date on it also. But, so I thought that far, that way you don't have to change, anything. But,
Well, before we do anything, let's have a cohesive plan of what we're gonna do with all the walls, so we aren't doing something here and, oh, well, let's throw this down here, and we can have a.
Is there a way to need new bulletin boards?
yeah, we would need new bulletin boards, yes.
Is there a way to kill two birds with one stone and get bulletin boards that are sound deafening? What do I wanna say, so the hallway doesn't echo, so they're sound
Well,
absorbing, but
it's
they're
getting,
also.
it's getting better with the ceiling,
Like we did in the veterans hall, we put
Yeah.
up panels.
I think that ceiling's gonna take care of the issues.
yeah, the ceiling's doing a pretty good job already.
Okay, it doesn't echo or anything.
Not like it did, no.
Okay. That was just a thought, we're getting new bulletin boards to make them 2 in 1,
But you think the ceiling will do a better job of it?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the main part of the hallway there, should be done this week. I mean, they've got the full tile already in, so now we're gonna start doing that, working outside, we'll get those ones alongside. And that should be done this week. Then we'll probably switch down to my end and get that taken care of first. And then we'll, the area where the vending machine used to be, stairway is, that'll probably last.
Yeah.
We do have one handrail up, or partial handrail up for the stairway.
Yeah.
It also goes with the banister, it's already there. We're kinda waiting on the other one yet, because we've got some there's some plexiglass ordered. That should go right along with that.
That handrail could use a paint job too.
So good stairs, but you know.
Yeah. I was thinking before you put the handrail up, it's an easier time to paint it.
Well, I think they told me something about it was brass, I'm thinking, well, I think maybe we need to take paint off of it.
Well, if it's brass, then you gotta polish it.
I can't get people to polish the handles out here, so. But, yeah, so that's why the big one hasn't went back up yet, so we're waiting on that. I think we just got a notice from Ace, just a little while ago saying that plexiglass not gonna be in for another week yet, so. That's it, nothing major so far. The annex was cold when we come back from Thanksgiving vacation. Not sure as to why we'll check it out, we checked it out, didn't see anything wrong or out of place. I think sometimes, if they keep the wrong doors closed on offices, that's gonna make a difference. Cause the thermostat could be in one office, but it controls also 4 or 5 other offices. So if they would keep the door closed in this office and it satisfies this room, then the others are left to do whatever they can, so. I think that's about the only thing we can do. Other than, I will make a statement that, let's think about that whole VAV system, boiler system, that whole heating system over there is as old as the building is. So that's 33 years old at this point. When you look up, when you just do it like a Google search online and say, what's a lifetime, you know, what do you consider a lifetime for a VAV system? And it's 15 to 20 years. it might be time or here, you should start thinking about revamping it or reworking the heating system altogether over there. Just a thought, just wanted to keep it out there. Had some problems with the safety center with one unit, but Wyville's still working on that, still taking care of that, trying to investigate that situation a little bit, so. I'm just glad it didn't. One of the units to take care of dispatch was, had a motor burning up in it. And one time it burned up so much that it actually smoked, and it sent smoke to dispatch. So, I'm really glad it did not trigger the FM 200. I'm surprised it didn't trigger the FM 200. That would have been, I know how expensive that gets.
Yeah, that's probably heat sensitive more than smoke, isn't it?
It's so sensitive too. Ask Mr. Cannon.
Oh, okay.
I've never told you that story, or you never heard that story?
No, I'll talk to him sometime.
How's the phone system down there in Safety Center?
How's the phone system?
Remember you were working with Chris on the phones and everything down there?
That's a bad thing I hate to say about that project down there, it's kind of stopped for a while. And I hate that, I wanna get it done, it's close to being done, probably as close to being done as we are here. But, you know, we had to stop, and I had to spend a week getting ready for the hallway, getting everything out of the hallway and get done. And then I had to spend that next week getting Christmas done. And that was a push that week, I mean, to try and get everything we got done. So, you know, here we are, and that's up to Thanksgiving, here we are, a week or so after Thanksgiving, now we're putting things back downstairs, so. I wanna get it done, but it's hard to juggle. You know, this is more of a public eye down here. Could be more of I don't wanna say nuisance, but an area where it seems to be in a way if people were, activity coming in and out of the courthouse or whatever, I'd rather have this done. But that down there is not affecting anybody at the moment.
Right.
So. Like I say, I do want it done, I wanna get back to it. I hate having open projects, I hate doing that, so.
The hallway becomes the basement, the face of the county when you come in to do business through that entrance,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to, you're doing a good job, I really liked what I saw this morning coming back.
Good, thank you.
And, you know, I've mentioned before to you, the painting looks very nice, the corner, I like the corners where you got that protected and everything. So, it looks nice.
Yeah, she's a good painter, and I'll probably be using her again, so.
So when you come in from the ramp on the street there to south entrance, why you come in, it will look nice.
She won't be stepping back in time.
Yep.
I mean, you will, the rest of the courthouse, that's fine, the rest of the courthouse is fine, but, I mean, it's timeless.
Yeah.
So, I think I've hit on everything that I can, so.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Anything from you guys? No?
Well, you've got enough on your plate already.
It's getting there, we're getting there.
Yep.
Then I have to follow up with the work orders that I have out, because, you know, I have work orders that come out for every piece of equipment, every maintenance on every equipment. So that when, let's say, Wyville comes around and does maintenance on equipment, I have to follow up with it. I suppose I could put it in the contract if they do it, but I have to follow up with him and put down in the computer that the maintenance was done on that piece of equipment. And when you start adding up, you know, it's pretty simple, there's only like 4 ACs or furnaces over at the museum, or maybe 2 or 3 out the west annex, 2 at the north annex. 9 at the safety center, plus, you start getting here, and I don't even remember how many we have here anymore. and you have at the annex, you have, 25 VAV boxes themselves, plus the rooftop unit, plus the boiler. It adds up a lot, it takes a lot. That's a lot of times, if you might see me looking a little sleepy downstairs, probably the computer, because I'm doing that kind of stuff when it gets so repetitive, it just gets old and boring. I thought I was gonna change it, I think I'm gonna start doing it at home at night. Right before I'm ready to go to bed, that way I can just fall asleep on it.
Just like, good idea.
There you go.
If anybody's out and about, last night at the toy meeting at the museum, the back security light was out at the
Okay.
garage. So I don't know, it's just a bulb or whatever, eye or something. Whenever I get a chance. It was all dark back there behind the museum.
Alright,
That was the only thing I could think
you shall carry on.
of. All right, doing a good job.
Alright.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Better than what?
until, Gina's not back from vacation until today,
Okay,
so I should be hearing from her. But Judge Santos scheduled,
yes, I saw that.
so hopefully, I'm sure Gina will have a plethora of emails to go through,
Oh, I'm sure,
so,
catch up's terrible.
yeah. Hopefully, we'll get them scheduled this week.
Language anywhere.
Ellen? Hey, good, how are you? I'm free in the afternoon. That'll work. Okay, yep, bye-bye.
On the advertising for the resolution on the townships, I've got all of the public library hours. So on that next Monday, I will make the rounds and distribute information personally to all the libraries. So they have it on the 16th.
Nathan, do we need to contact him to make a map?
He's already been contacted.
Well, already got it made for each township, or made on the computer.
Yeah,
We need to know, I guess, what we need.
yeah, and they told him.
Okay.
So you're physically going to distribute it to the
Yeah.
libraries?
Yeah.
And it's just the media stuff?
It's the map and the notice,
Okay. You need some help with that.
yeah. Maybe I strip around the county.
How many libraries you talking about?
There are 6,
Forest?
Is that the list?
there are 7.
Is that the list, Mike? Mike was gonna send us a list of the public libraries that he pays funds.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Well, yeah, but
Okay.
he hasn't sent that I know of, and he's not in this week.
Oh. Tori sent a message up to the auditor's office.
Let me ask you a question. If you wanna just pop over, please, a little bit. So this says critical infrastructure project design, and then this is the ODI. Is that different than the bridge? Or I don't know
Yeah,
what that
this is, I believe that's a CDBG.
So,
Fiscal year
Okay.
2024, so it's just.
Oh, okay.
I
Edith,
was just
Alger,
acknowledging
Dunkirk,
that
Forest,
The critical
Okay.
infrastructure was signed by
Canton,
Alger.
Victory.
We had nothing. to do with it.
Ridgeway
We just
is
had-
closed right now because the
Correct.
vehicle.
So-
building,
Easy enough, yes.
They are not open.
I don't think so, I think we got everything.
You posted on the outside?
Well, good day.
Sit in the yard?
That's right.
there's nothing.
No, no.
I believe our 11 o'clock is outside. Do you wanna wait? Do you want me to have him come in?
We'll wait till Joe gets back.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna go upstairs. Just to cover the bases.
I'm trying to decide I asked if you could make a trip home with my credit card to go get on some water for Thursday. Since I'm alone. And
All right. We're waiting on you, but we gotta wait on, the commissioner-elect to come back. See if he's in here, if he's in here, well, Tori this way. Yes, I think it is. That's me. There's the other judge.
Stacy will be available.
One of them. And Paul's out here, I think he's 11 o'clock.
One of them should be in on, you're on that board, should be in there.
What's on the door?
It's on the door.
This is our schedule. All of 11.
So I'm not on.
You may be separate from here, but on pending in here, that's our deal.
If I'm not on, then I'm not on.
Wait for us.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of you guys are supposed to be in this meeting.
Hang on.
I know you.
Oh, we're probably good.
Okay. My schedule here for the meeting on Monday.
We have Paul on our agenda.
Well, Stacy had taken it, she said, I've got these.
There he is. Are you supposed to be in the meeting with the judge, Christopher?
Okay, that wasn't on our calendar. I'm not either, I thought it was.
Morning, guys.
Good morning, Mr. Striker. I heard a rumor of cookies. How are you today, Mr. Rush?
How you doing, sir?
Another beautiful day in Hardin County.
Ready? Oh, you come on in. All right. There is a community corrections meeting in the next room, wasn't on the calendar, but apparently I should be over there. So I'll let you take care of Paul and hopefully I'm back soon enough again.
That is. Go ahead, come through, you're a man on a mission.
Oh, yeah. Go over to Megan's hedges.
Updating.
I'm checking.
Updating. Hardin. Getting all over it.
Sort of.
Still on the cool.
How are you?
Hello, Fred. I'm okay. This is a correction to the
Oh,
letter
I
I
have,
sent you guys. Yeah, the third paragraph on the second page.
what, I gotta keep that. It's been the
Well,
extent.
it's a train wreck is what it is. But I corrected that, so.
Okay.
So how are you today, Paul?
Tori's not here.
I'm well. I'm well. I don't work on Wednesdays, so when I'm done here today, I have a full day. Well, I don't work at the village on Wednesday. I do my pastorate thing on the Wednesday, so, so I get to sleep in tomorrow if I want to. But other than that, pretty normal. It's good to see you guys.
Haven't seen you here in a while.
No, it's been, year, probably, I guess.
Well, probably since primaries, I would say.
Oh, it was before that. I was very bad for money anyway, last time. No. Anyway, the third paragraph on the second page, my whole life, I've probably had to deal with a dozen acronyms. Since this job, I've never seen so many acronyms in my life. It's, the EPA, so I wanted to correct that. It's kind of a jumbled mess there, but this will explain it well. Why I'm here.
I think there is a federal acronym book.
Oh, is there?
Through the White House or something.
You'll give me that
It's
for
like-
Christmas?
It's like this thing.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. It's unbelievable. So.
And they have an acronym to cover what acronym means.
Yeah. So, are we ready to begin?
Roger.
He's gonna go over to the
He's
community.
going
garden.
over the-
He's gonna be there, so we might as well go ahead and get
Well, I
started.
didn't know if you had to wait on him or what.
Yeah, we might as well go ahead and get started.
Yep, we're ready then.
All set?
All right. Well, when I wrote this last week, I wanted to get a spot in here because we have some things going on in Alger. Our wastewater system, is over 40 years old, and since I've been there, it's been 6 years now. We fought a battle with, the EPA numbers and that, and it's a difficult task, very hard battle. So we've had it. We've emphasized. First, I contacted Rural Water, and they came out with a depth gauge boat, and they did the ponds, and our lagoons are filling up. And we knew they were. We knew they were full because our numbers are bad. We fight it all the time. And it's getting to the point. So finally, I hired an engineering group out of Bluffton, Wessler Engineering. And they were
They
working.
out of Bluffton?
Yes, and they were they're currently working on Dunkirk.
Yeah, yeah.
Dunkirk was able to secure a fast track grant from the state, which we also applied for. We had about a month to apply for. We went to Wessler and got a technical memorandum done. I took it to council. They approved $7,800, and I told them, you're throwing this to the wind because we have no idea if we'll be able to get this, and we didn't get it. So this is the next step. We have the technical memorandum, and now, we've been looking for other grants, we've approached the EPA through RCAT, for the possibility of loans. My argument I'm making here, if you can call it an argument, my position that I'm making here, we were basically 40-some years ago, the EPA comes in and says, you've got to fix your water, you've got to fix your wastewater, we've got to spend millions of dollars and put up these plants and do all this stuff and everything, And so this was imposed on the people, and now we've been paying for it ever since. We've been paying on the wastewater and the water loans now, 3 of them, one of them just dropped off in November. We have 1 more to go, and it's not done until 2033. And it's substantial, and we've been paying on this all this time. Well, before we go and try and get another loan, we believe we need to do the best we can to extend it out as far as possible, so that, let's say, we secure all the steps in the process and it takes 10 years or whatever, and if we can get right up to 2033, and we have to take on another loan, it's not gonna bite us because we're not still paying on the other. We'd like that to fall off so that the people don't feel it as badly, you know what I mean? The EPA also encourages, when we're gonna get loans from them, that we put skin in the game. In other words, the people raise their rates up to a certain percentage and that kind of thing. And I'll tell you, it just, it grieves me to have to do that. So what I'm doing, what I explained there in the second paragraph on the third page is, or I'm sorry, third paragraph on the second page is the DEFA loan, which is through the UPA. If we go through them for that loan, they dictate the timeline. In other words,
Take
we,
what you
the
said.
timeline.
Okay.
In other words, we say, we'd like to butt this up against 2033. We'd like to push this back. We'd like to take 2 years on the design, 2 years on the, and push it as far back as we can. And if they say, no, we're not gonna do that, you're gonna go by this timeline, and it's gonna be finished up in 2028 or whatever, well, that's gonna be hard on us. So, what we're asking, and you see in the bold type there, what we're asking is, if we can buy our PER, which is our preliminary engineering report, if we can purchase that, we own it. And if we can own that, then we have control. We have control over the timeline, we have control over who we seek for grants or loans. We have total control, it is ours. And we need that. The reason we need it is because we need to take our time on this, and we need to make sure that everything is in place properly so that this doesn't pinch our residents like I think it could if they want to push this through. So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking if you will be so kind as to pay for the PER the PER for us so that we can own it, and then we can dictate our own timeline, and we can make this as painless as possible for the village. That's my request for today. Now, I have other things in there as well, and on the third page, I mentioned the Ray Brown project. This has been something that's been going on for about 3 years. And the involvement of the Hardin County community on this. We have the Hardin County Museums who have jumped on board. We have Ohio Northern University that have jumped on board, and this thing is really starting to gain some momentum, and we're excited about it because we think it benefits the whole county in possibility of tourism. I have no idea where it will go. I am not skilled in such matters, but what we're seeing is a great amount of interest, and we've secured a historical plaque that we'll be putting at the ballpark. There are a number of things in view. I just wanted to make you aware of that so that you can be, well, you'll probably see me again one day, is what I'm saying.
A historical plaque, did you get a grant for that, or was that?
Actually,
Right.
the historical museums paid for the lion's share of that. We put together we cobbled together a little group of guys, about 6 of us, and we started meeting around the table. What can we do? How can we pursue this? And we decided the first thing to do was pursue Ohio historical plaque and get on the historical register.
Right.
We did. David Strittmatter at ONU, he also sits on the board of the historical museums, but he did much of the legwork on that, the paperwork and dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Right.
And he submitted the necessary forms to the Ohio Historical Society. And of the criteria necessary for a historical plaque, we checked off like 80% of them. It was tremendous, and we got it first round. And that was about 1.5 years ago. And then we started soliciting funds for it, because it costs about just south of $5,000. And so we started letting it be known. We put up little placards around in coffee shops. Matter of fact, the restaurant in Ada, the Mexican restaurant in Ada, they have certain days where they give a large portion of what their intake that day, they'll name that day and we call it Ray Brown Day, and a lot of their proceeds went toward that. So we got a bunch of it together, and then, the historical museums then put in the lion's share. I think they put in more than $1,500 to secure that plaque. And that was great. Now, that was in the summer, June, July, something like that, when we actually, ordered the plaque. And they said it's probably gonna be March before it's done. Well, that's okay with us, it just gives us time to plan, but, yeah, we're expecting that in the next couple of months. So, there's a lot of things that, and frankly, guys, we don't know what we're doing. Never done anything like this before, but I'm just letting everybody know, all over the county. I think the possibility of this is something that could be very, very great.
Maybe a thought, someone contact the National Baseball League.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, we've been in contact with the National Negro League, which is, museums, which is down in Alabama, I believe. And, we've spoken to someone down there. They're aware of it. Major League Baseball in Cooperstown, I have not contacted them. I don't know if somebody else has yet or not, but yes, of course, we'll be doing it
Well,
too.
I think they would get behind, they got behind it, you'd have funding
Oh,
more than you could
I hope so.
imagine.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
I
We've
would
gotta,
think, yeah.
we've got to show some progress. We've got to make sure that we know exactly what we're talking about. And, you know, we don't wanna look like we're feminists when we're doing this, you know?
I think even, I don't know if they do anything like even a GoFundMe page.
We have done that. Yes, we have done that. And, there was, some kind of a Midwest regional rural type of grant or something like that ONU put in for. And it looks like we're on the short list. They asked us for banking numbers. I think we've got that.
Yeah, you're
And that's for $100,000.
We're getting
So-
something there.
We're doing everything we can.
Yeah.
This will get as big as we want it to get, I think. I really do. So,
Let's go back to the wastewater treatment.
please,
I see, and again, it's Wesley, right?
yes, Wesley.
And that's the company that you've been working with.
Yes.
We're familiar with them also too, with Duncan. Do you have a document from them that shows these numbers?
I do. Well, I know I do. I'm just gonna be able to put my finger on it. I believe it states it in the technical memorandum. That's why
Well, basically what I'm kind of looking for is a document like a quote or something that
Yes.
basically from them says, this is what is going to cost
yes, and
to
I know,
have your engineering report.
I know I have that. I'm sorry. I thought I'd be able to turn right to it.
Because that would help them substantiate the value of $48,500.
Absolutely, I understand. Here, using this. And you may keep this. It's under figure.
I don't want to take your only copy.
No, that's not my only copy, this is, I have copies of copies. So that's my answer.
Let me ask, I guess, a hard question, if I can.
Yes,
Are you collecting more than the cost of water currently, and putting it ahead for rainy day, or?
Well, I explained that early on in the document. I kind of wax philosophical sometimes, and I'm sorry about that. But, as it currently is, yes, we are, except for a $5 addition that I instituted 5 years ago, all of our monies goes to operating. I don't say all, we've had a water tower fund that is $3 a month for many years. And we were able to repaint our water tower last year because of that fund, but also, thank you. We still accumulate because one day, years down the road, many years down the road, we'll need a new water tower and we'll have the funds to buy it when we do. We have over $100,000, but by the time we need to do it, it's gonna be over $1 million. So, but we're working that way, and it's costing the people $3 a month. I instituted $5 a month into what we call our enterprise fund. That only goes to major repairs, and we have some, the pumps that move this water, they are many, many thousands of dollars. And we've repaired the chlorine room on it. We've used this fund on general upgrades, but it runs about $25,000 a year we're able to accumulate, which is really, it could take several years to get to a place where we would have to do a major improvement and that kind of thing. But it's something, and it has helped us. We've been able to upgrade our level indicators and things like that, and it has helped. But beyond that, it is just operating. We're just able to operate on what we.
Okay. And you say that was 5 years ago?
Yes.
I think I remember when, God being intermediate, but, so.
I asked for 10, they gave me 5.
Yeah. I guess, so in 5 years, the cost of operation has went up quite a bit.
Yes.
The cost of equipment.
It does.
So why didn't that $5 each year go up $1?
Oh, I proposed that. Matter of fact, I can show you my proposal. I wanted a 3% increase every year, and they just, they didn't give it to me, and it may come to the point where I'll have to go ask again. It's a big part, finding out this is a big part of the job that I do.
Oh, I understand.
Securing funds, and so.
Well,
and councils change over time,
I'm sure.
They-
I know living in Kenton,
Yeah.
they have set up structures that every so many years or yearly it goes up,
Mhm.
just to keep up with cost of living.
Well, that's one of the things that the EPA, that's one of the demands that they make when you get loans from them, is that you implement some sort of increase like that, and, like I said, now, 5 years ago, and it was a different council then. I could probably approach this council, or possibly the next council, and I may be able to get it, because we do need it. And this is a good time too, because, our sewer debt was just paid off. They were paying $575 a month on the sewer debt. Well, council took that off, so their bill went from $75 to $70. So it actually went down as per last month. And, so we have some room. I can approach them again.
Well, I'm just, my own observation of life is living in Kenton, and not picking on Kenton by any means, but they build in, so it keeps up with, of course, you have years and cost of living's 10%, like we had a couple of years ago. Nobody ever plans for that, but I think to stay stagnant for 5 years is not maybe
It's not wise.
the idea, yeah.
And that's what look, I'm no genius, but I'm like you, I understand that there are things, and I made a proposal, man, I made a PowerPoint and everything, I showed numbers and, the whole thing, you know? And I said, this is what we need to do. First off, right out of the gate, we need another $10, but on top of that, we need another 3%. This thing's gonna grow, this stuff doesn't get any cheaper. Matter of fact, the last 4 years, it's been a lot higher than 3%, the cost of living, and so, you know, yeah, I made that argument, but not well enough, I guess.
I think there's, I won't mention names, but other villages in the county that have learned that lesson the hard way.
Well,
Their
and
systems break.
this is what I found, and I think you probably found it too, that, look, the folks of the community, a small community,
Right.
McGuffey, Alger, these small communities, the folks that come to council, they're folks that everybody knows and everything, but they're just normal folks.
Right.
And it's not something that, they've spent their life being skilled at or anything like that, you know, and a lot of the folks live hand to mouth. And, it is a difficult thing to cause people to think that way sometimes. And I know, and when I first came on, it was contentious in there, to say the least.
You come
And I
on.
think all of Hardin County is aware that it was somewhat contentious.
Yeah.
And so that made it a difficult thing too.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I was surprised when I came on, you know, I evaluated the water plant and the water plant's only 20 years old, but the sewer plant's over 40 years old. And I was, surprised, somewhat, mildly surprised, that we were as well off as we were. Because I know that, and it had to be because of the people that they hired to take care of it. But even, you know, over 40 years, I would say probably there's many years of neglect in there, scattered throughout. And, it gets to the point to where you have to do something. But 40 years that's a couple generations, that's okay.
Long time, it's the last.
I was pleased to see that, but.
I am assuming, Wessler has a detailed document.
I can get that for you.
But you do have that goes into details to everything that they are going to do. Are there options within that detailed document?
Options
As to, we can do this, or we can do this, the cost would be this, the cost would be this.
yeah, not in my hands. We discussed, what could be done, like do you dredge, do you not dredge, you know, things like do you treat this going forward? Well, we've been treating it now since I've been there, and we're really not making much progress.
So really, there's only one option.
That's their recommendation, that is the option, yes.
Okay.
And that's a big part of the bottom line, it's over $1 million to dredge that.
Yeah, and again, why, for that document, basically for that information, the cost is $48,500.
That is the next step, yes, that is the preliminary engineering. That's correct.
Preliminary engineering effort, service.
And if I can say again, that we would then own it. We have control of how we do this going forward, which is very important to us. Because we don't have two nickels to rub together. We have to take our time on this, you know.
Paul, that you're aware, of course, that we've helped out here.
Yes, you have, and I am very thankful. Yeah, you've done us a
Do you
solid.
know how much it was that we did?
55,000.
52,874, 52. And it's a combination of several different things. There was a 12,730 invoice. There were 3 of those items.
Yeah, the lift station pumps. See, we were in a very hard place because we were down to our last pump, and you rescued us.
And then on top of that was an expense for $9,684.52.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think.
And then on top of that was another $5,000.
I'm trying to think of what those were.
So, those have, and you know, of course, you've come in and presented all of this to us in the past. And, we've obliged Alger, as we have other communities.
I hope so.
You know,
Yeah.
with the same situation. And it's all been, basically for a smaller community like that, it's all been around $50,000. So now we're looking at another $48,000.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
We've been pretty consistent, I think, with the different communities that have asked dollar amount around the county, except for one community hadn't asked at all. Well, two actually.
That's right.
So we're trying to keep it even.
We're trying to
We
keep
do around the county.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I do, I understand that. I'm trying to fight for Abby.
Well, you understand that, you know, and, you know, we're dwindling down here on ARPA money, if you're
Yeah.
talking those funds.
And
You've
that's-
spent all your ARPA money,
Mhm.
otherwise we wouldn't have, you know, given you some already on top. Cause that was one of our prerequisites to the different communities, was to spend theirs first, and then ask, and you did it. And that was the proper way to do it, so,
And quite frankly, I will continue to ask.
You what?
I will continue to ask,
Oh, yeah.
because
That's good.
Continue to discuss it.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I always feel like I have an audience here that's willing to listen to me.
And you understand our position, but we have to keep things somewhat in balance too.
Well, I do, and the needs are great in all the villages. I know that too. I'm familiar with Forest and Dunkirk and Mount Victory. And, my son-in-law lives in Mount Victory. I'm familiar with, the struggles of small villages. And part of that struggle is because they are so small. And what contributes to that is the EPA is a giant burr in our saddle. They make demands that small villages have a difficult time meeting. It is a constant burden. It is a daily burden. They are the bane of my existence some days. And I'm not ashamed to say it. They are judge, jury, and executioner, and I believe it's overreach. Personally, I believe it's overreach. Their demands are way beyond what people have the ability to do sometimes, so.
You know, we even went through with the county replacing several sewage package plants and emissions and, sewage and water is always expensive.
It is.
They make the requirements and then they say, well, last resort, we'll give you a loan for.
Well, yeah, we'll make the demand, and then we'll provide you the money, and then you'll be subservient to us, and that's the way they play it, and that's the way it is when you're the monarch, and they are. We had a visit from the federal EPA a couple months ago, only because they made an internal mistake themselves, and I think it was just an excuse, personally, for them to stick their nose in and see what we're doing. And, of course, they write a report, and it gets passed down through their various desks and then it gets to us, and then we have to meet their demands. And we argued 4 of them, because the Ohio EPA is not even on the same page as the federal EPA, and we had to remind them that the Ohio EPA does not require this of us, and so we had to go back and forth with that. You know, and that's the way it is, because they have this kind of control, and they can punish you if they want, at their will. And they'll say, well, we demand that you test this 3 times a day, and we demand that you test this upstream and downstream, and you do that every day. And you've got me sweating now, so, you know, it's unfortunate to say the
Roger,
least.
there's a documentation that Paul has provided that illustrates what he's asking for penalty $8,500. Osborn, and it's basically for their review, documentation for the wastewater treatment facility. We have talked about the need for it. We have also discussed the fact that, we have also provided with the village, funding to the tune of approximately $53,000 in the article account. And, we talked about how we're trying to keep things on balance, even when it comes to that sort of stuff. And as we're onto that particular point in time, where we're looking at this stuff, Paul's also talked a little bit about the Ray Brown activities that's going on in Alger, and looking at doing some things with that too. So we'll kind of get you up to speed as to what we've talked about so far. So, anyway, why that's kind of where we're at. We're, like I said, we've already gave the village roughly $53,000, and so we'd like to try to keep that on an even keel with the rest of the villages, the small villages in the county. This will put probably over $100,000.
Yes, and I will not quit asking. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You're gonna say no, am I right?
You're right.
So, you know, yeah, I'm gonna keep asking. I'll be the squeaky wheel, because really, our resources are so limited where we are. And my low interest loans are fine, but they're still a burden. They are a weight that hangs over the heads of the people, and I want to avoid that as much as possible. I appreciate low interest loans, but at the same time, it strings us out forever. I pursue grants. That is, but many of the grants that we pursue are reimbursement grants. We still have to have the money up front and pay for the stuff and then get reimbursed on it, you know, which is fine. That's great. But we, as are the other villages, we are in a position to where we're standing on the corner with a teacup in our hand, and it is a difficult thing, and nobody in any village, no professional in any village, whether they're the wastewater superintendent or the water superintendent or the village administrator or the treasurer or anybody, they're not making competitive wages. Not even close. And I would venture to say not even half, because of the situation that we're in. We love our people, we love our villages, and we do this, much of this, grass, you know? Because we understand the position we're in, we do. So, brother, can you spare a dime? That's all I got. I'm sorry you missed it.
Yep. Yeah, you know, when the judge wants you at his meeting, you go to his meeting.
I guess so.
Yep.
I guess so. So anyway, again, I appreciate you guys very much. I always have. And that's my ask.
Well, you've come a long way in Alger, and
Well, I hope
I think
so.
you're continuing, so.
I hope so. I don't know, when you're down in it every day, your nose gets dirty and can't tell the difference, you know what I mean? I hope that's the
The
case.
6 years I've been here, they've improved a lot.
Well, we've got a great mayor. I wanna tell
Yes,
you.
you do.
Yes, we do. And, I'll trumpet him anywhere, anytime.
I agree with you there.
He's a jerk sometimes, but that's all right.
Well, sometimes we all have to.
No, I tease, he's a great man. Are we done?
He's probably not doing his job if he's not there now.
Oh, he's wonderful. All right, well, I thank you for your time.
Yep.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, thank you.
Sir, y'all have a great one.
Yep, you too. I think Jan's out in the hallway.
He's in the office now.
Oh, he's in the office now, okay.
I'll take the message from the sheriff.
No.
He wants to supply me. Just says can only be called when you have a chase.
Okay. I'll call him.
We're done.
Oh, okay. Morning, Jan.
What we doing?
Hi, Jay.
How are you?
Have a seat.
Gentlemen.
Soft seat. Good.
A soft seat? How's things going?
Good.
A little gloomy out there, but.
Yeah, it's been rain.
Yep.
Had to run wipers coming in.
Yep.
So,
What can I do for you?
I am here to understand what's going on with these townships and their resolutions on the solar. So I'm not sure I understand what they're trying to do. Well, I know what they're trying to do, but.
The position of the commissioners over the years has been that if, after Senate Bill 52 was passed, that, you know, we had the ability to make, energy-free zones. We have had a position that if the townships pass a resolution and come to us if they want to make their township or a certain area of their township alternative energy free, that we will consider their resolution. And then we can pass a resolution if we so vote to make that portion free of solar and wind in the utility scale, not the small ones, but utility scale, 50 megawatts and over. And
Okay, so there is a size component to it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's 50 megawatts when it comes to solar? Is that like 500 acres?
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly, I
Yeah.
Say
suppose.
probably close to it.
Yeah,
Depends on the panels, what each one produced, but
Yeah.
yes, generally it's the larger, solar 1, solar 2, solar 3, the different projects are all.
Okay, so understand, I'm not advocating for solar whatsoever.
Okay.
I personally think Ohio's a lousy place to put it because there's too many days like this and it's gray. So the yield on solar has got to be crummy. And that being said, I personally think they ought to put solar panels on, over top of the Walmart parking lot or on the roofs of buildings that's already waste ground. But that being said, I am very much a private property rights advocate. And I struggle with this, I live in Lynn Township. I own a significant amount of ground in Lynn Township, but I also own ground in Taylor Creek and I own ground in Buck. But the bulk of our farming operation is in Buck and Lynn Township, with some in Taylor Creek and some in Logan County. I am not advocating solar whatsoever. I don't have any solar on my ground. This project out here in western Lynn Township, they are going to cross us with a transmission line, a buried transmission line. But it looks to me like we're late to the party. We've already been solar development and out there at McGuffey for 5, 6, 7 years, I don't know, quite a while. The Lynn Township one, I don't know, it hasn't been ongoing that long, but probably 3. And I guess my opinion would be, these folks had a right, or had the opportunity to come to the Power Siting Board hearing, which they had. I remember talking to you at the Elks afterwards, there was only like 2 people came, and they weren't vocal about one way or the other. So you had the opportunity to buck this if you wanted to, and nobody cared about it, and there's, I don't know, several hundred acres right township to the west of me, I can't tell you for sure how much, but 700 or 800, probably. And some in Taylor Creek Township in conjunction with that, and Gary Schicks and some of those down there, but Bob Boker's or Gladys Boker's ground, and the one Phil Weaver owns, which is right up against us. You know, I struggle to tell someone else what to do with their property. And in my opinion, it's a de facto zoning thing, and these same people would vote against zoning. Lynn Township's unzoned, and they've tried it a couple of times, and it always goes down to defeat. You're trying to zone it in the back door there. And you're telling someone what else they can do with their property, which I struggle with. I really do.
And that is a struggle. We've had strong feelings towards owners' rights, that, you know, you have a right to do with your property as you see fit.
As long as it doesn't adversely affect your neighbor, okay, I go along with that.
Yeah.
But I struggle to see any provable, that's probably not the correct word, but adverse effects on your neighbors. They don't smell, they don't make any noise, they don't stick up in the air and block your view. Maybe you don't wanna look at them, but they're only 10 feet high. Tell me exactly what's the problem with them, other than, and all that said, I agree, I don't think we ought to put it on farm ground, but that's the wrong way to go about it.
And really, this is a good conversation to have with the trustees, because we always feel that the trustees are closer to the people who live in their township than we are. That's why we haven't done any countywide, because, you know, property rights, and we don't know what the people in Roundhead Township want to do, which is probably completely different from what the people in Pleasant Township might want to do. So.
I don't disagree with that, but I think that the trustees are caving to local pressure, which is a few very vocal, you know, there was 20 or 30 people there, and I wasn't able to go. But 20 or 30 people there, well, there's a whole lot more residents than that.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole lot more residents than that.
And
so I don't like the fact that we're trying to do it after the fact. We've already got a significant number of acres in those townships. Where you been? Why are you doing that?
And you know, it could be, and I've heard this said, that enough's enough, we've got enough of them in the county, let's not cover the whole county with solar panels. You know, that's an exaggeration, of course, but, you know, there is that sentiment out there. But yeah, I would encourage you to go to the next township meeting.
Well, but what good's it gonna do me if they've already passed a resolution?
You can always pass a resolution to rescind it.
Okay.
Until our resolution is passed, they can rescind theirs, and, you know, at the meeting where we're gonna consider a resolution, the trustees can come in and present a resolution that they wish to rescind that, original resolution. You know, what you do by resolution, you can undo by resolution. So, you know, it's.
Well, there again, I'm one person. Okay?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and, you know, and if there's other people that share that sentiment, you know, take them to the meeting with you. Problem is that
They don't
people
want-
like to go, people don't wanna
You
go.
know, I'm the one that's not afraid to say something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you never.
You bring up a good point, you bring up a good point there.
Well, and that's my real problem with it, is the private property rights. This is a slippery slope, you know, when you say we can't have any solar or any wind, then you say we can't have any hog barns, and don't tell me it's zoned agricultural, I get that, but, okay, solar might be a fuzzy thing there, but you're harvesting the sun. So, you haven't proven to me, I guess, these folks that wanna grout, and what that is in Lynn Township is a grudge match between siblings, and one wants to do it, one doesn't, and I think that's what started that, and that's the most vocal one that's stirred a lot of other folks up. And don't get me wrong, I'm in the farming business, and I cash rent farms, and I don't wanna lose them to solar either. But I can't sit here and tell somebody that if they're making $250 an acre cash rent, and they have the opportunity to make $2,000 an acre or whatever it is on solar, who am I to tell you you can't do that?
Yeah.
I guess it's my job to try to talk you out of that, but I can't come in here with a hammer and say you can't.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like's happening here, and that's why I'm upset, I guess, is the fact that we already had the opportunity to speak to Power Sighting Board, and nobody cared, nobody did. And, okay, well, that's done then. All right, so you're not being fair to the folks that had the opportunity, everybody's had the opportunity. You're kind of stomping on folks here, and the part I really don't like is the private property stuff. I mean, you know, that's the position the NRA always takes on gun control. If you give an inch, they take a mile. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with this. It's just the start of another raft of regulation that, you know, and I picked a hog barn out of the air, you know, I don't, you know, whatever you wanna do.
Could be anything you produce on your property.
Anything you do with your property, if I wanna build some sort of a factory and build something or whatever, you know, you're telling me I can't do that. Or you're opening up the door to be able to tell me not to do that. And we're not zoned.
A lot of the townships, aren't, so they won't.
Yeah, I suppose about half of them are maybe.
Yeah, a little over half of them, yep.
And that's, my dad was involved in that in Buck Township when that was, I grew up in Buck Township, but I live in that township. And he was involved in that when they first did it, it was 5 acres in.
Yeah.
Well, I can show you some here and there and everywhere that 5 acres is too much because a homeowner can't or won't take care of it, and it's not enough for me to farm it.
Yep.
So, you know, they've changed that now, most of them are back down to about 2, maybe some 3, I don't know. But, you know, zoning that's a tough thing, so. But that's, I guess my opinion is that a lot of these folks that are so vocal about this solar would be just as vocal against the general zone. So that it is over over a certain size.
Yes, yeah, and the smaller farms, the under 50 megawatts, those, aren't affected by Senate Bill 52, but zoning, if the township is zoned, they can amend their zoning regulations to control those. But, you know, that's a process in itself. I think there's one township starting that process, but it involves putting referendum on the ballot for the voters to approve. So, which is quite frankly a better way of doing it. Because, you know, if the resolutions come to us and we pass resolutions naming these alternate energy zone free areas, then it can be petitioned for referendum by voters and placed on the next general election ballot, but it's voted on countywide then. It's not just a
Countywide, not just a
township.
township.
Because they're referending a county resolution, they're not referending the township resolution. So the entire county votes on what happens.
8% to get a referendum.
8% of the voters in the last.
The petition that you'd have to send around to get that on the ballot would be consistent of 8% of the voters of the last gubernatorial election.
Okay,
And that's quite a few.
yeah, it is.
And you only have 30 days to do it.
30 days.
Yeah.
That's tough to get that many signatures.
Yeah.
And see, that's what the problem. You guys know it in government and everything else. It's the vocal, the squeaky wheel is what does this.
Yeah.
So you got a real tiny proportion of the voters here that are making all the noise that cause them to do this. And, you know, they've kind of ganged up on the trustees and, you know, to the point they had a couple deputies there, I think, you know, anticipating the problem. I don't think there was a problem, but, so. But that's my real issue is the private property rights factor.
Or an issue to tell somebody what they can and can't do on their property, as long as they aren't harming the county as a whole.
Which is the reason basically why we initially kept everything open. And if a township so desired to do something different, then they can
Let me ask you one more thing, then I'll yield. Is there a tax benefit to the county and to the townships from the energy developers?
Yes, Pilot pays more to all of the taxing subdivisions than the general real estate tax does.
So it would relieve some of the tax burden on the rest of the folks.
Yes.
Yes, by quite a bit.
Yeah, the only time that
And with that pilot, excuse me for interrupting, that
Yeah.
pilot, applies to solar as well as the wind.
Yes.
Yes,
Any alternative.
yes.
And, you know, the only time that there's an adverse to other people in the taxing districts is if you have a bond levy or a levy that is set to get a certain dollar amount, then if it's required to generate that much money, the levy doesn't care how many acres or how many people are included. It still has to generate that. And when the property that the solar panels are physically located on goes into operation, that becomes real estate tax exempt. So then that bond levy gets distributed amongst the rest.
So it has an adverse effect there.
There is.
If there's acres
It
that-
can have an adverse with a bond.
I don't know that in Lynn, there's a bond issue. USV used to have one, but I think everything they had.
Or Kent
expired.
schools.
Oh, you're in,
Yeah, well, most of Lynn Township's Kent
yeah,
School District.
yeah,
Maybe not all of it,
They
but
have a
most,
huge
most,
bond right now.
yeah.
most of
See,
it.
that would be spread over the entire taxing district, not just the township.
Correct.
So.
So it might not have a big adverse
Yeah,
effect.
that was not gonna be big. Ridgemont's got a smaller area and a bigger footprint, and they're gonna have a bigger adverse effect from their bond issue than Kent Schools would. But theirs isn't as big as Kent Schools either.
Yeah, Kent Schools is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured that out, that's gonna cost me or my heirs or whatever, over $7,500 a year for 37 years. That's more than my fair share. Okay.
That's a whole other discussion.
That's a whole nother discussion, not ugly. But I wanted to understand before I get noisy about something.
Yeah.
And I wanna make an educated opinion.
Yeah.
So that's what I wasn't, I already had a discussion with one of the Lynn Township trustees, so I wasn't getting that it's over a certain size. I didn't get that out of the discussion.
Yeah, it's only 50 megawatt and larger.
That's
Utility
usually the
scale.
larger ones that go through the PUC.
Well, and that may be where they wanna be in order to be feasible on their end, I don't know. Maybe smaller ones don't work for them.
But the pilot tax benefit is,
Well, that's what I thought.
So what you take out of exempt the property tax compared to what
They
the
pay,
company pay on the pilot,
well, from CAUV to industrial or whatever, you know,
I
it'd be
mean,
pretty big.
it's huge.
it
And Mike has some of those figures chart, which show, and it's.
I haven't gotten into that, I haven't gotten that
Well,
far.
if he does a chart on, say, Lynn, you can see but you gotta know what's mapped out in the
Well, I have
exam.
a pretty good chunk in Lynn Township, I don't know how many acres are in there, but I have a pretty good chunk of it.
Yeah.
So,
That might be, might wanna talk to Mike.
probably half of what we own is in Lynn Township maybe, and then a lot of it's in Buck, so.
So there is a huge advantage of pilot money coming in over a project that's finished and producing. Solar One so far is the only one producing pilot money to the county. About a third of that, it all goes to the general fund, and about 2/3 go back out to countywide
Yeah.
levies. So your police, fire, school, and that district are all getting huge bonuses of money. The county general fund's about a third of getting to keep that pilot money for, say, Solar One project. So it all comes into here, but about 2/3 goes back out. So anybody that passes, that could change every year, is if you pass this countywide levy or fail on county levy, countywide, or produce a new countywide levy, can change the formula of that pilot.
it's like a pie. There's so many wedges in a piece of pie, and each year those wedges can be a little bit of a different dimension.
high wedge is changed, and Mike has to do that on January 1 of every year. So,
You know, I'm just trying to get a real handle on it. I know what these people are calling about, but that's beside the fact, you know?
yeah,
They just don't wanna look at it. But nobody cared. I got 700 or 800 acres up against me, and nobody came to the power siting board meeting at all.
150 years ago, there's articles about those ugly telephone poles and Morse code books.
Cell towers. you
Now
name it.
people don't even see them. You drive by them every day. So,
Well, I grew up next to an active railroad track, and they had a siding back there, and they switched all the time, and you could hear locomotives like there were, the area out here, double track, by the way. And people would come by and say, how do you put up with those trains? And you're like, well, I guess there is one. You don't even hear them after a while, you just tune it out. It's like people living near an airport, they don't hear
And
them.
Jan, that's true, we lived over there by where CSX goes by, near Blanchard Station. And, same thing, there was a siding over there and everything, they'd switch back and forth.
like living on North Detroit Street, all the semis go by.
Well, that's another whole discussion I better not get into, but
Yeah, that's not our bailiwick.
I know, but what a disaster. That's the reason I was here early, is because I didn't know how tough it was gonna be to find a place to park. So, I mean, I know how to get around this town, but what they're trying to do to trucks is wrong, so. Okay,
Yes,
you answered some of my questions,
Good.
so,
Good.
got any more, just call.
well, that's why I made an appointment.
Yeah.
And my wife, the last thing I heard was, don't lose your cool. And I said, I don't think I got any reason to lose my cool.
I'll give her a good report on
Okay, if you would. Thanks for your time.
it. Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yep.
Hi, Joe.
See you again.
See ya.
Hey, good, how are you, Sheriff? Oh, okay, well, very good. Okay, well, I will share that. All right, thank you. Bye. I'm having issues at the dog pound. Apparently, a lot of the volunteers and people are just hanging out there and in areas where they shouldn't be, so they keep telling the dog warden to tighten up and only county employees allowed in the office area. And one of the volunteers is upset over that, said he's gonna come up and see us, so sheriff just wanna let us know he might be in. I can't see a problem with limiting the office to county employees.
And, so it's becoming.
It was yeah, he said sheriff's term was a lot ago. People just hanging out. You gotta run your office.
There's lots of things going on.
Yep. So,
Do you want to act upon the, resolution for next Thursday?
that'll be just part of the budget. Oh. Okay. can do that next meeting.
That's what I was thinking too, and it's consistent with what we did earlier this year too, if I recall. And so we'll go ahead and we'll take care of that on first.
Okay.
Did we already do, or did you do last week? The resolution turning the dog pound over to the sheriff?
No, Tori's getting that language together.
Yeah. So that,
I thought maybe I missed it last
that,
week.
that,
Okay.
We are all done, gentlemen.
Okay,
That's everything.
and Tori know about the reappointment to the airport authority.
That's for you, Virginia. You go to health board, right?
that's right, I do. Thank you
And
very
she
much.
said it would not be printed, so I went ahead and printed
Yeah,
it.
thank you very much. I'll go to, airport first.
I think it said it was tonight, right?
Yeah, they changed it because of the.
See you later, Alex. See ya.
Okay. Cause
Yep.
I only have airport on the,
Yeah, but it was changed because of the season.
okay.
And they,
Yes.
What about airport? Thank you.
This was as updated, he gave us, if I need the date stamped, sign that one, he changed on the paragraphs from this
yeah,
one, so that's considered a draft and this is the final. So,
Okay,
okay.
the
And
final does not have the letterhead on it.
right, we need the date stamped on
you
each.
got a copy of that.
Yeah. I'll make a
And,
copy.
what we're gonna do on Thursday is remember how we appointed different people to the airport for their boards and everything. We're going to do that this coming, Thursday, right there for court. And,
Okay, do you wanna forward that to me and I'll update that, we can just update the whole resolution where everybody's perfect. Awesome, thank you.
you should already have it.
I'm gonna check my email.
You should already have it, and it'd be consistent with how we did, this.
Yeah.
Once ago, and it'd be consistent in that fashion.
Yeah, we'll just update that one.
And what I'll do is I'll let them know that, and we'll do that on Thursday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that is it.
All set?
Yep.
Well, having back-to-back meetings, I don't feel like running back to 8 and coming back to 10.
No.
If you know what I mean. So
Yep.
I think I want to grab me a little lunch and come back.
Well, I actually had 3 meetings at once, cause we had the judge from over across the street was here.
Yeah, I don't
Thinking
know,
he had 11.
I don't know where that one came from, but
He didn't either, he said it's Stacy, and told him he had 11 o'clock. He got over here and Judge Christopher had an 11 o'clock, and we had an 11 o'clock. I don't know.
So I'm gonna stick around for
okay.
some.
Start getting a little foggy.
I'll tell you what, this morning it was foggy coming in.
Yeah, the Weather Channel had fog advisory.
Yeah.
department